Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tips, tools, and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I wanted to share some of the fun things that I have been learning. I've been diving a little bit more into understanding the subconscious mind and how our thoughts and belief systems actually reflect out into our external reality. And I'm going to use a few analogies today to teach because I know that's a way that my higher self likes to come through. And so we have the ability to shift the energy of anything, and I mean anything, starting with our belief system about what that thing in the physical form may be. So let me explain. Say, for example, when you're born and, say you're 2 years old, okay, and your mom gives you a unmarked bag of Cheetos and tells you that these are carrots and that what you should eat them every day. And when you eat them, they're going to make you very big and strong and you're going to have perfect eyesight. So you go about your life eating these Cheetos every single day, thinking that they are carrots and that they're going to make you big and strong and you're going to have perfect eyesight. Well, you go through your life, you get up into your teens and you are feeling big and strong, you have 20/20 vision, and then one day you go to school and you go to share with your friend, "Hey, do you want a carrot?" And your friend says to you, "That's not a carrot, that's a Cheeto." And you're like, "What's a Cheeto?" Because, you have no idea what a Cheeto is. Your mom told you when you were 2 years old that it was a carrot, and then it's going to make you big and strong, and you're going to have perfect eyesight. Well, your friend tells you, you know, Cheetos are made in a lab and they're processed food and they have a lot of chemicals and they're actually bad for you. And you're like, "What? No, this is a carrot. It's good for me. It gives me perfect vision." And then so your friend plants a seed of belief into your mind. And so, maybe you go home that day and you start to question things and you're like, let me look this up. I've got to see if this is a carrot or if this is a Cheeto. So maybe you get online and you start to, do some research and then you begin to realize that your whole life you were lied to, right? Your mom told you that that was a carrot and now it's a Cheeto and now Cheeto is bad for you. And so what happens the moment that you shift your belief system, you shift your thought, which then shifts the vibration behind the thought of knowing that that now is something that is bad for you. So then maybe now you begin to experience, you don't feel as big and strong anymore. Maybe your eyesight starts to get blurry. Maybe you even get sick now when you eat the Cheeto. But your belief system changed how you felt about that particular um, thing in the physical reality. And this is why some people will take certain medications or supplements and they'll have raving reviews and success stories about it, where others will not. They'll be like, "Oh, that made me sick. I didn't really get much from that particular healing modality or whatnot." Say, for example, I just did a show on acupuncture. So, say, for example, someone who loves acupuncture, has had amazing benefits from it, goes in for a session and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait for this session. I'm going to feel so amazing when I get done." And so they go in and they have an amazing experience with the acupuncture session. Well, there could be someone else who is a little hesitant and a little leery about it. They're like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to be poked with needles. I don't like needles. Needles hurt. I don't know how this session is going to be." And then they get in there and then they have a terrible experience. And a lot of it is because of the belief system that they had around whatever that particular healing modality is going to bring to them. So, it's backed, that belief system, which I call BS, right? Belief systems are BS. We can change them at any time. It is backed by a thought, and every single thought is backed by a vibration. So our thoughts originally start from a vibration, and there are infinite vibrations out there, and we can tune into any single one of those vibrations, but it's imperative for us to look at the belief system first and then track back to the thoughts and then track back to the vibration. So once we do that, we can actually shift the energy of anything. So let me use another example. Let me see here. Okay, let me talk about UFOs because this is probably an easier analogy to understand as well. So, say for example, your friend has had a UFO experience. They totally believe in UFOs and they talk about it all the time. Well, you, on the other hand, have never had an experience. You've never seen one. You've never, had that in your physical reality. So you're quite skeptical about it. Maybe you're not a believer. You're not a non-believer. You're just kind of skeptical about it. Well, you say, for example, you're out hiking with your friend and your friend looks up into the sky and is like, "Oh my gosh, do you see that? There's a UFO." Well, you look up in the sky and you're like, "I don't see a UFO. I don't see anything. What are you looking at? You're crazy," right? And your friend's like, "You can't see that? It's right there." And you're like, "No, I don't see it at all." Well, what's happening is that they have no resistance to believing that UFOs exist. They have an inner knowing that they exist because they had an experience that has told them that they believe in it. So they have no resistance and they're able to physically visualize it in their external reality. Where you, on the other hand, have not had an experience. So you're a little questionable on whether or not you believe it, which is then creating an energetic block or resistance to you seeing the particular UFO that your friend sees in the sky. And so this is tracing back from the belief system to the thought to the vibration. So when we look at the vibration, it's like tuning into a radio station. Your friend is tuned into UFO 98.5 and you're not tuned into that radio station. So you're not seeing what your friend is seeing. Now, say for example, a few weeks goes by and you decide to go out on a hike by yourself. You're enjoying yourself. You're not even thinking about UFOs. You're not thinking about any of that stuff. You're just out there enjoying the scenery and breathing in the, beautiful fresh air and just really having a good time. Well, you're in a state of flow. And then you see something in the sky and you're like, "What is that? That looks weird. Is that a UFO?" Or maybe you even see a creature in the woods or something that kind of breaks through your belief system, shows you otherwise. So now what has happened is you start to become a believer of that because you have experienced it in your physical reality. Now, if the reason why you experienced it is because you experienced it 2 weeks prior with your friend, could be a reason why, because you let go of the resistance of not believing in the UFO. Okay. So now every single time you go out with your friend, now you both see the UFOs because now you're tuned in to the same vibration, into the same belief system, into the same radio station. So we can shift our radio station at any given moment. Okay. So say you're like, "Oh man, I see UFOs all the time. I don't want to see them anymore." I'm gonna shift my radio station. And I've actually done this because I was really heavily into the CE5 and doing a lot of Sasquatch research here, locally in the area. And so I was seeing stuff all the time. I was seeing structures, I was seeing UFOs. Well, now I started to shift my um, thoughts, my vibration. And now I've been focusing a lot more on manifesting certain things in my life, creating my reality. And I know that my belief system was what was bringing it through the law of attraction into my reality. So, what we focus on grows, what we give our attention to grows. And so the fact that it's not that I don't believe in the UFOs anymore, it's that I'm not focusing my attention or my energy on them anymore. So I'm not seeing them in my reality as much as I was before because I'm now focusing my energy on other things that are now coming up into my physical reality. So when we're looking at the current situation of what's going on in the world, we've actually already manifested this. What we see in our current reality is actually in the past because we've already manifested it energetically. And now it's finally showing up in our physical reality. So that's why it's so important to live in the now moment because when you are visualizing and creating things in the now moment, you will see it appear in the future. So we have a now moment now, there's another now moment now, and another now moment now. So the future doesn't have to be well in the future. The future could be very split second from this now moment. Now we're in the future. Okay. So when we look at our limiting belief systems, that's where we want to dive into, because that's what's setting the resistance we may be having, or the non-resistance we may be having when we're trying to create things in our lives and bringing what we desire into our lives. And so when we really hone in on what is the belief system that I have, and what are the thoughts behind the belief system, and then what is the vibration that I'm tuning into that is now attracting, through the law of attraction, what's coming into my current reality. And so, when we're looking at all of this from an energetic standpoint, we literally can shift the energy of anything when we shift our belief system about it, and then we shift our thoughts about it, and then we shift the vibration around it. We tune into a different radio station. And so that's, when I'm working with people and we're going back into their childhood and saying, okay, what were your belief systems about relationships? What were your belief systems around finances? What were your belief systems around your health? And taking a look at that and saying, okay, well, who were the main players in your life? Was it your parents? Was it your grandparents? Who was it? And what was their belief system? And are you now carrying their belief system? And is that belief system even relevant to you today? Well, if you're still carrying their belief system and then you're questioning, why do I have, say your grandmother had a belief system around you had to work really, really hard to make money. And then now you've carried that with you and now you struggle to make money. And you didn't even really realize you were carrying that belief system with you until we bring it up to the conscious mind and say, wow, I had no idea I've been carrying that my whole life. And that's not even my belief system. It was something like the Cheetos that someone told me, and I believed it until I learned otherwise. Now, in the analogy of the Cheetos, you could have gone your whole life eating Cheetos thinking they were carrots until you came in contact with someone who had a different belief system than you. Now we have a choice. We have a choice. He had a choice at that moment. He had a choice to choose. Do I want to continue to believe that these Cheetos are carrots and that they're making me big and strong and giving me 20/20 vision? Or do I want to choose to believe that they're bad for me and that they're processed and that they could, harm me if I continue to eat them? You always have a choice on what belief system you choose. And so this is where it all comes into play with the placebo, the non-placebo, and our subconscious mind. And so, you know, our subconscious mind does not know what is real and what isn't. So we are feeding it with information. So the subconscious loves repetition, right? The subconscious loves images, it loves visualizations, and that's how it forms our external reality. So if you have negative thoughts about something and you're visualizing it in your mind and you're repeating it over and over again, then the subconscious thinks it's real. So the subconscious is going to bring that forward like a projector screen for you to experience. Okay. And so when we can dive a little bit more into our belief system around whatever issue it may be that we're struggling with, and then trace it back to the thoughts around it, what is our dominant thought, right? What is the dominant thought we're having specifically about this subject, whether it's relationships or finances or health, whatever it may be? And then we can trace it back to the vibration. And then in the quantum, you can shift that vibration, shift that radio station, turn the radio station to another channel, right? Then you're gonna gonna be listening to something else. Okay. So once we have a deeper understanding of that our belief system is kind of that first thing that we want to look at, then we can dive a little bit deeper, go back into the thoughts, and then go back into shifting that vibration. And then once you begin to master this, you're like, oh, belief, boom, thought, okay, boom, back into the vibration. You get really good at it, and it happens a lot faster because your subconscious is like, okay, this is a routine. I got it. It's a habit. I can see where this is at. And you get a lot better at it. But in the beginning, you've got to train your subconscious mind to bring that forward, because oftentimes we're in the conscious mind, which is running maybe 5 to 10% of our lives, where our subconscious is running majority of the time in the background, and it's running on those belief systems, it's running on those thoughts, and then in turn it's running on that vibration, which is then attracting things into our life that we either desire or we don't desire. Okay, so I hope that this information is helpful. It's something that I have been personally working on, and I've had some really good results with this, just being able to shift some of my belief systems. I've always had a really good belief system around my health, but lately I've been working on areas like my relationships and my finances. So it's been really fun to dive into these different topics to see, where can I shift my energy? And I do notice that the moment you start to release the thought pattern around it, or the resistance around the thought pattern, you can feel it. I feel it in my body. I feel goosebumps and I'm like, ooh, I was successful. Like I just literally reprogrammed my neural pathways. Like I can sense it. So my physical body gives me a little indicator that it's taken place. And you the more you do this, the more you'll begin to recognize, how does your physical body tell you that you have shifted your vibration? Is it through number sequences? That's really predominant for me. It could be through just, maybe you get a phone call, maybe it's something that you were creating, and you shift your frequency and boom, you get a phone call and it's exactly what you were thinking about, or something like that. And so you'll begin to recognize when these things actually take place, or the shift takes place, because you will notice it. Now, I want to do a show about parallel realities soon, because I've been experiencing that. I've been really dabbling in that a little bit, and I've had some pretty wild physical, external validations that I am parallel shifting. And so, if you're interested in that show, let me know. I will definitely talk about that, because that's an area that I am having a good time in. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I think I could share some of my experiences that may be helpful for you too. So, I hope that this show is helpful, and that this information is something that you can take home with. Take what you resonate with and leave the rest, and just move on, because it's all a belief system. And once we understand that we're all functioning on infinite belief systems, then it's so much easier to not take things personally, or to try to push your beliefs on others, because you just understand it can change at any time, and it's all based off of a vibration or a frequency. All right, sending you all so much uplifting energy. Take care. You deserve to navigate your life in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the Emotion Code, visit my website at www.theexistentialempath.com.